Okay, I'm back. Tab 7 is based on a petition that was submitted in November 2021 by Maverick Gaming from Kirkland, Washington. The proposal is to amend a number of rules to allow for the use of a ticket in, ticket out system in card rooms in order to purchase and redeem tickets with table games play. Okay. The major arguments were that it would create efficiency in reporting of revenue, increase security. The use of tickets would allow for a quick and secure count, and it would help combat the passing of counterfeit bills. At the January 2022 meeting, commissioners agreed to initiate rulemaking in response to the petition. The staff at the time had raised some policy concerns, but they were actually raising those policy concerns not having seen the device, not having been able to examine how it functions. Once staff did receive the equipment, they spent a number of months studying the ticket in, ticket out device and to understand how it worked and develop a set of rules that address the policy concerns that we had in January 2022. So the rules that we've developed, we did not test against this device that we received. These are the rules that we're not talking about a device that's been manufactured by this person or that person. We're talking about if you have a ticket in, ticket out system, these are the rules that will have to be compliant with it. We had September 22nd, 2022, there were a number of different petitions that we had stakeholder meetings on 3 issues, 14 licensees, card room operators at the meeting were in support of this petition because they thought that it would create efficiency, streamline accounting processes, and reduce workload. Licensees also felt that it might aid in anti-money laundering compliance and the detection of counterfeit currencies. Same meeting that same day, a different meeting at that same day, tribal partners expressed concerns that the use of a device like this could be considered an expansion of gambling, might be outside the legislative intent, and could be a challenge for problem gamblers. We went to the Evergreen Council on Problem Gambling for feedback, and they did point to some research that supports the idea that the further a person gets removed from the actual money, like by using a ticket that they don't have a bill in their hands, the easier it is for them to overspend, particularly if we're talking about gambling. So I referenced some articles there and we put some in your packet. So the one thing I would like to say is I put in front of you new rules. The rules that were in your packet, these are the same rules that we're asking for you to file. We suggested you file for further discussion. Having said that, on page 21 of your packet, we would like to call out that in the time that we finished the rules packet and sent it to you, we added point 7, which is a further restriction, can only be connected to authorized gambling equipment, which authorized gambling equipment is listed in WAC 230-03-200. So we were just trying to make further definition of the limitations that we'd like to introduce in this map. I think that's everything I have to say about that, but I'm open for questions or covered most of the issues. Director, yeah.
So can only be, I mean, what gambling equipment is it connected to? Are we saying like some accounting system, or I mean, just feels like, or is it sitting on a table being considered to be connected to gambling equipment?
No, so what we're saying is you can only connect the ticket validation system to other authorized gambling equipment. So you can't connect it to something that's not authorized gambling equipment. Okay. And the reason is we're not doing this just for today's technology and just with one manufacturer's, because we've only looked at one manufacturer's piece of equipment. With things evolving so quickly and everything, what we tend to hear at trade shows is it's configurable, right? Meaning we can mix and match different manufacturers and really meet the needs, which is great, right, for the operators. But we want to make sure that we're forward thinking and not coming behind putting our parameters around it later. So that was the basis for adding that.
In 230-15-770, the ticket requirements. I am curious, and it seemed, and I don't know if staff knows this at this point, and we also require a responsible gaming message on the ticket.
We
Whether it's
may.
a number or.
So one thing to, yeah, so kind of interesting, with this, it's not meant to be held
Right.
onto for a long period of time. Okay, just want to make sure that,
Sure.
because in the article that she mentioned, you still are playing with chips. You're not
Right.
playing with a ticket. Okay.
Right, but when you leave your table, it tells you how much its value is. And if it also has a responsible gaming message on it as you move to a different table or take it home so that you can use it the next time you come to the casino.
Yeah, we certainly can look into that, to see if it's something that any of the manufacturers.
Feels like it could. So would it, if we move to file, would we, then we could consider an amendment to an 8 to include a responsible gaming message
Sure,
for the ticket?
and if we have manufacturers that have issues with it, then they can certainly come and speak to this while it's up for further discussion.
And
I don't know how, if we need a motion to do that, but I would. So it has to be before us first, we'd have to.
I would say that if you would like to add such an amendment to the language, it can be sorry, do we already have a motion before
We
you?
haven't had a motion yet.
Then I think you can add it to your motion to move forward with this.
Well,
Madam Chair. So it allows players to move directly from live game to live game without having to go to the cage cashier. And that's what it does. And then we have research that we got from the Evergreen Council on Problem Gambling that confirms that the farther a person is removed from the value of their standard currency, the easier it is to overspend, particularly when gambling. So I would really like to challenge staff. I mean, we just came from a conference where we had long conversations about how we even passed a resolution on the topic of problem gambling and how we should address it. I would really like staff, not only, I mean, I would love to support a motion if Bud makes one about a message, but I'd like staff to bring us options on how we might mitigate the potential for impact to problem gamblers with this rule, based on some of the recommendations that came from the resolution that was passed at the, and an acronym, help me out, Bud. Nickel G's. You all know what that means, right?
No.
National Council of Legislators from Gambling States. Bring us some ideas on how we might mitigate that, and so that we can consider whether or not we want to include that in here.
I
Please.
thank you, Vice Chair. Might this topic be better addressed or more, or another alternative for addressing this topic might be the rules package that you had asked for a few months ago to address problem gambling signage, for consistency for all licensees, and maybe we can make sure that that is broad enough to evaluate that resolution and really have a robust discussion amongst the commissioners and licensees about those recommendations or the resolution as passed by Nickel G's. Or do you want it specific and you want this resolution?
Both.
Okay.
No, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I don't know why we couldn't amend this particular rule
Yep.
and then have that robust discussion, which also might include the resolution. We could all together, this commission could look at that resolution that was passed. And so I'm actually considering asking the chair to put that resolution on the agenda for a future commission meeting. So your recommendation for a robust conversation is exactly right. I agree with that. But I don't know why that would preclude us from wanting to do something with this rule here. Would it be?
Well, that would only apply to this ticket in, ticket out, which the ticket in, ticket out, you may or may not have to go to the cage. Depends on what you're playing. So you would take your cash to the table, and from my understanding of the petition, you take your cash to the table, and instead of them taking the cash and exchanging it immediately for chips, it's my understanding that the card room dealer would take the cash and run it through the ticket in, ticket out system. And so instead of chips, you would get a ticket as a player, and then you would give that ticket back to the dealer, who would in turn give you chips to play with. And then before you leave the table, you would return your chips to the dealer, and they would give you a ticket. And so you don't walk around with chips. So if you did need more cash, then yes, there may be a time when you go to the ATM, if they don't have a debit card reader that you just passed at the last commission meeting, or you want to withdraw money from your credit card. I don't know if facilities still take checks, but those would be purposes for which you would go to the cashier's cage. Again, you would come back with cash and go through that whole process again, exchanging for a ticket, then in exchange for chips. So the time you hold on to that ticket is very short-lived until you go to cash out at the cage or the kiosk.
Subject matter expert Bill has his hand up. Bill McGregor, I think, has his hand up.
Yeah, Bill McGregor, Special Agent Supervisor for the Gambling Commission in Spokane. I just wanted to clarify something there in what Tina was saying. In this ticket in, ticket out system, the system itself never comes into play when a player buys in. For example, they bring, like Tina said, they bring money to the table, they get their chips, they play. It comes into play when they go to leave that table, rather than them taking, say, $100 in chips with them to the next table. The dealer would keep those chips at this table, give them a voucher, and then they take the voucher to the next table or to the kiosk or the cage to cash that voucher out there. But it's not, there's no difference in money per se in this. So I don't know how it plays into the problem gambling with being further from their money, because it doesn't replace money. It's not like they have a card they're using to gamble with every time that they would have had to take money out of their pocket originally. So it doesn't really play into replacing money, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Any further questions or comments, Commissioners? Any public comments? I'll just chip in. All right.
Again, Vicki Christopherson for the petitioner, Maverick Gaming. I just wanted to say that we would not object to a provision that these tickets have some sort of phone number or notice. We're happy to, in any way, anywhere in our facilities, have that information available. So we wouldn't view that as burdensome or a problem. I just talked with Phyllis, who said that those programs can be programmed to put whatever you want on them. So if you want to put that in there, no problem here.
Yeah. I just want to say, I think that the commission needs to address some of these ideas comprehensively, which is what our executive director was
Totally
suggesting.
agree. I just didn't want it to go
Right.
unstated that we would be fine with something big on the ticket.
Thank you.
Your staff, Victor Mena again. Yeah, I think the intent here is to not have the chip trays get drained. Okay, so what happens right now is that you cash chips out at the stage. There's a lot of chip movement. This would prevent some of that chip movement. So it eliminates fills to some degree. It also creates a tracking system. If it's tied to your player tracking, then you know who's cashing what out. So it really is a much better accounting for following people's activity. But it could save time and motion from the operator moving chips in and out of tables is really what this does. I think you have the other petitions from another manufacturer that has the purchase piece, which is entirely different. Yeah, because you would still go to the table buying CAD. You'd go cash out instead of giving you chips, which you were playing with. They would just give you a ticket next day.
Thank you. Any additional public comments? Anything online? No. All right. I think we can take a motion.
Would you like a motion clean and then amend it, or do you want a motion with the proposed amendment?
With the amendment.
One moment,
Motions.
sorry.
I believe Lisa's ready to.
Okay. So is
Close the sentence.
a sentence that we could include this, the statement, if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call the Washington State Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800 blah, 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 for confidential help 24 hours a day. That's a statement we could ask to have put on the,
I would rather that not be in our rule.
this comes from another rule, but
But how about a responsible gaming message agreed upon by the agency? Because we might want to, there may be whatever new research that says that having that isn't as effective as some other messaging. I don't know. I mean, it just seems like we'd have to do a whole rule change to change that language somewhat, but.
Maybe the industry would consider doing this.
Well, I wanted to rule that they have to have a responsible gaming message, but I don't know. I mean, I'm fine. If staff thinks that's the best, then that's fine, but it just doesn't seem like it's.
Oh, but if we don't specify something, can I just say like, get help and claim that that's good, right? I mean, there
Get
needs
help
to
for
be like.
everything.
So, you know what I mean? Like, there needs to be some sort of around.
I would say if it's not clearly defined, then you may end up with a variety of things that are subject to interpretation.
Okay. So can you read that again?
I don't know if I can, I'm still laughing. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call the Washington State Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800 blah, 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 for confidential help 24 hours a day.
So my motion is to file the proposed rules, including the additional line or phrase to 230-15-770 for responsible gaming for further discussion.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Someone's gotta.
Oh,
No.
Bill.
Still.
I apologize. I just want to make sure that the motion is moving the rules forward that were amended after they were in your packet, the latest changes that were made yesterday.
Not yes. And we were looking at our fresh copy.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All right, motion passes.